Okay, please follow me. Welcome to Visoko and the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. My name is Dr. Omanagich. I will be your guide for today. Since its discovery, the Bosnian Pyramids have become the most active archaeological site in the world. This is a prehistorical construction complex. We consider it very important. We actually call it a sacred place, and we need to show the respect to it. So please watch your head when you enter. We have just entered the underground labyrinth round. Underground because we are going to be under the ground between 30 and 40 meters. Labyrinth is a huge network of tunnels, passageways, chambers, and underground lakes. And Ravne, this part of Visoko is called Ravne, meaning flat. At one time in the distant past, this was a flat area. Today it's a hilly area. On this map, we are right here. To the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, it's approximately 2.5 kilometers. What we do here, we clean existing prehistorical tunnels, placing the wooden support and the lights. Inside you will be seeing traces of at least two civilizations. The first one who built this network, most probably 30,000 years ago, and the second one who closed them, who sealed them off roughly 5,000 years ago. So what we do, we clear the filler material, placing the wooden supports for safety reasons. So from this point to the pyramid, we have to move in southerly direction. So this is south. And then when we get closer to the pyramid, we're going to change direction to southeast and east. In 2007, we had Russian geophysicists who are doing geoelectrical screening from the top of the pyramid, and they concluded that 280 meters below the top, there was a network of tunnels below the pyramid. So our idea is, with this entrance, to come to the pyramid, and on topographic map, the entrance is exactly 280 meters below the top. So the idea is to connect with those tunnels under the pyramid. Conditions in the tunnels are the same during the year. The temperature between 11 and 12 degrees. Humidity about 75%. No poisonous gases. And we try to keep those conditions the same. There is only one entrance, this one right here. But as you're going to see, the airflow is very good. The level of oxygen is 20.4% in every part of the tunnel, which is ideal ratio. It doesn't sound logical. Usually in a coal mining facility, as you go deeper, there is a lack of oxygen. But nothing is logical in Bosnia. Including the level of oxygen. As a matter of fact, as we go deeper, we are going to be breathing better and better. So now we're going to be moving to the south. This is the block that we called egg-shaped block. And indeed, when you look at the shape, it does look like an egg. Egg, in cosmic symbolism, is birth process, the new life. You can see the surface looks like we have 7 hills. Maybe this was a relief in the old times. You can see the line here going all around the surface. It's possible that this was a lid, a cover. The pointy part is right here, showing direction. And when you look this way, we can see a tunnel which is closed all the way to the top with the filler material. Below this block, there is an underground water stream. Water is at 21 meters depth, flowing in this direction. And the width of the water is from this edge to another edge. So for the ancients, when they see this block, they knew that underground water is here, they knew the direction, they knew the width, and they knew the strength. Because when you have water moving, you have energy moving. So for them, this block was an information. For us in 21st century, this is just a piece of rock. And this is the difference between us and them. They knew our planet better than we do. We move on. There is an intersection here, one tunnel going to the right, one to the left. The one that goes to the right, we started clearing 7 years ago. At that time, everything was covered. There was a big drywall, 3.5 meters long, and the filler material. We started removing the filler material, and a whole new network of tunnels opened up. But we're going to stick to the left side.
Dobro jutro.
Dobro jutro.
Ja.
Šta ima?
Štima.
Puno radi.
Puno.
Alright, now there is one intersection here. We have one tunnel to my left, one to my right, and the existing tunnel. As you can see, there is a drywall here and the filler material. As you can see, filler material is a loose, non-compact material. And the tunnel is filled all the way to the top. There is another one here, also at 90 degrees to this tunnel. Used to be a drywall here, and the filler material all the way to the top. And this is what we've had in all the tunnels. When we came here in 2005, 2006, all the tunnels were closed. So what we do, we remove the drywalls, filler material, and then place the wooden support. This is the block that we discovered back in 2006. At that time it was filled, the material. At that time this floor was a little bit higher, up to here. Once we cleared everything, we discovered the carvings in the bottom part of the block. Then we realized that some of the carvings have geometrical shape, and some of them looks like a letter of our alphabet. The most known combination of geometrical symbols and our alphabet symbols is called the runic symbols, or the runic writings, or runes. According to conventional science, it's about 2,500 years since runes were introduced. But according to a lot of independent researchers, their age is at least 8,000 years. They started in the Middle Europe, going to the north, Scandinavia, and to the west, UK. Unlike our letters, runes have meaning. Our letters, A, B, C, D, they don't mean nothing. You need to put 4 or 5 letters together to get the meaning. Home, H-O-M-E. But runes, every symbol has a meaning, so they were much more complex. Here we have 8 runic symbols. And the translation, according to the professor from US, would go like this. The gate has been closed. We will have to stay, defend ourselves, and conquer until the cosmic gate is open again. Okay, let's keep moving. How did we discover the tunnel network? In 2005 I first came to the town of Visoko, noticing 2 pyramids, the sun and the moon. And in my first book from 2005, I wrote that we were going to discover the underground tunnel network. And I based that on my experience with Egyptian pyramids. Under the Giza plateau in Egypt, there is a network of tunnels connecting all the pyramids. Sphinx, and the river Nile. In Saqqara, also in Egypt, tunnels under pyramids. In China, Shanxi province, tunnels under the pyramids. In Mexico, Teotihuacan, tunnels. Palenque, Mayan pyramids, also tunnels. Based on that experience, I said we were going to discover prehistorical tunnels in Bosnia. At that time, cultural establishment reacted like it's impossible, first pyramids, now tunnels. Well, 12 years later, it turned out that we were right. But all the tunnels were closed. Even this one where we are standing right now, completely filled with the material. So we were removing the material. So when we came here, there was an intersection. This tunnel logically continues this way. But as we can see, there are traces of the drywall and the tunnel filled all the way to the top. The height of this tunnel is about 2 meters. Now, there is another one. Also, nicely made compact drywall and a closed tunnel. And there was a third one, which is open right now. So when we came to this intersection, we were thinking where to go now. We took compass, looking for south. This is north, this is west, and this is south. So we started clearing material from the south and then placing the wooden support. As you can see, we do not open every tunnel because there is no need for that. We don't have enough funds, people, money to do that. So we clear tunnels mostly that they lead us towards the pyramid. Now, we do not clean only one tunnel because that would be, from safety standpoint of view, too dangerous. If ceiling collapsed, we could be in trouble. So what we do, we clear them like in the circles fashion. So far we have those 5 circles, which we can always use as the emergency exits. It does slow us down, but so far we have not had any safety issues in this project. So we're going to be moving south. Okay, I will be going first. Thank you. Not intersection. We have a group here, so we're going to be quiet. This is our location of the block which we named K2. The first one that we saw today, the egg-shape, was 350 kilos. We just passed 2 more blocks, K1 and K3. They were 3.5 and 4 tons. This one here is 8 tons. As we go deeper, the blocks are getting bigger and bigger. We discovered another one which we called K5, and it reaches 100 tons. When we look at the surface of this block, it looks like we have some valleys and hills and rivers. Most probably this was a relief of the valley. Secondly, you see the line here on the top. Again, most probably this is a lid, a cover with the base. We took, this block is sitting on the plate, which is about 15 centimeters thick, and it was used as the support plate. And this is very important archaeological argument. Somebody has picked up this location, placed the plate, and then this block on top of it, and they connected them with the binding material, which is based on calcium carbonate. It means that they did not want this block to move left or right, and we know why. Below us, underground water flow. The water is coming from this direction, and exactly here in the middle there is a natural obstacle, probably a big rock. The water hitting the rock and splitting into 2 streams. So energetically, this is a place of very potent energy. And they place the block exactly above it. Now, we took samples from the block and sent them to Zagreb, to Institute for Atomic Physics. They applied two very sophisticated analyses. One is called Röntgen diffraction analysis, and another one phased analysis. Their conclusion, this was definitely ceramic. If this is a ceramic, it means that somebody in a distant past knew how to produce high temperatures and high pressure to make this material. Now, we also noticed that when we do the measurement, there are an interesting energy fields here. Electromagnetic, ultrasound. So, we concluded when we are doing a geo-radar screening, two things. The first one, that this block is made in two pieces. Base, which is about 30 centimeters thick, and the cover. And between them there is an air pillow, meaning they made those two pieces at two different times. And secondly, inside this block, exactly in the middle, there was an oval object. Not air, not water, not ceramic, not metal, but mineral, most probably quartz crystal. So what do we have now? 21 meters below us, underground water stream. This is the water moves. This is the energy. Energy activates the quartz crystal. It is surrounded by ceramic. Ceramic resonates and produce electromagnetic fields. We measure two frequencies of electromagnetism. The first one is 28 kilohertz. We measure the same frequency wherever we have those blocks. So basically, this electromagnetic field flows through tunnels. The second frequency is a very low frequency of 7.83 hertz. In science, this low frequency is called the Schumann resonance. Everything resonates in the nature. Our planet resonates at this frequency, and this has been resonating for a very long time, for thousands of years. And this is the natural energy field. This is the field where we are all born. And it's been like that until 1990. After that, with the development of our technologies, we've been emitting a lot of bad electromagnetic fields in the ionosphere. Computers, laptops, mobile phones, TVs, microwaves, electrical grid. And this bad electromagnetic field is putting a pressure on our planet. So our planet started resonating a little bit higher, at 8 hertz, 9, 10, 12, 15. The higher resonance on the planet meant a pressure to us. Until 1990s, some of you might remember, everything was much more relaxed, more smile on our faces, less pressure. 1 hour would last forever. Today, the moment we wake up in the morning, we don't have a time for anything. More pressure, more stress. And one of the main reasons, we do not live in our natural energy field anymore. So those are two first electromagnetic fields, 28 kilohertz and 7.83 hertz. Now, 28 kilohertz electromagnetic fields flows through the tunnels. In the tunnel walls, we can see a lot of stones. Some of them are quartz crystal. When electromagnetic field hits the quartz crystal, then we have what engineers know as a piezoelectrical effect. What happens? Electromagnetism with quartz crystal generates mechanical waves or ultrasound. What is ultrasound? What we can hear is called sound. The range of the sound is from 10 Hz to 20 kHz. Ultrasound is everything above 20 kHz. Animals can hear that, we cannot, but we can measure it. Now, since we have electromagnetic field at 28 kHz, it produces the same frequency of the ultrasound, also 28 kHz. Now this is very important frequency. American Ralph Ring was doing experiments with the ultrasound. So he was producing 20 kHz, 21, 22, 23. When he came to 28, he had a sound speaker and a ping pong ball above the sound speaker. At this frequency, the ball started going to the air. He went to bed, came back next morning, the machine was still on, and the ball was still in the air. It meant that he discovered the frequency of the levitation. Or to be more precise, he rediscovered this frequency because the Bosnian Pyramid builders knew about this frequency 30,000 years ago. This is exactly the same frequency that we measure on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. So now we notice that we have certain energy fields. And they're very pleasant. People who come here, meditate, relax, you ask them how they feel light. But the moment they go outside, or when we go outside, we can feel the difference. It's not a big difference, it's different in the pressure, and we feel it on our cellular level. Back here, we are still in our natural energy field. So it seems that one of the purposes of pyramids was to keep the most stable and the most natural conditions on our planet. Now we realize that these energy fields, they affect our body, they affect our energy body. Every one of us has bioenergy field or the aura field. Now, when we improve our aura field, we can start developing our other abilities, and we can call them spiritual senses. In the schools, they usually tell us that spirituality is connected to the religious, but not here. Spirituality is actually development of the spiritual senses, so we can feel beyond the physical dimension. Physical dimension we can experience with our 5 physical senses. We can see, we can hear, we can taste, we can touch. 5 physical. But besides 5 physical senses, we have ability to develop 30 spiritual senses. For example, everything in the nature has its bioenergy field, including this block K2. We have our bioenergy fields, and there is interaction between energies. So we realize that this project is not only archaeological in its nature, even though we started with archaeological digging 12 years ago, but it has interdisciplinary scientific aspect. It has its energy aspect, and now we are coming to spiritual aspect. On this poster here, you can see a group of the 14 archaeologists from Croatia. I can tell you one thing, archaeologists are not very spiritual. But we tried a little experiment with them. We asked them to open their hands and keep them about 10 centimeters above this block. We wanted to see if they can experience, if they can feel the energy field of this block here. So why don't we do the same experiment here? So come a little bit closer. Let's open our hands. Keep them 10 centimeters above this block. Close our eyes. Relax. And focus on the area between the block and our hands. And very soon you're going to experience the movement of the energy. Little tingling in our fingers. Some people can feel little breeze, little wind between hands and block. Some people can experience warm, some people cold. Usually the energy field of the block gives us what we need to balance our energies. Any experience here?
You feel tingling?
Tingling?
Airflow?
I usually feel warm, but this time it's cold. For the first time I feel cold in
Me too.
I don't know how many years.
Me too.
Cold. So what we have here, energy field usually, or energy, goes to our body through our left hand. If you feel that, just let the energy flow through your body. Hand and arms. Very often we hear testimonies of people who have, let's say, back pain problems, that the energy goes back in the back, working on that problem. People with a bypass, energy work on the left side of the chest. And then after a while, goes out to the right hand. So, we cannot see this energy, we cannot touch it, so we cannot use our physical senses, but we can feel it. In other words, we are really activating different senses, spiritual senses. So, the spiritual senses, we can feel the other people's aura. With the time we can even see different colors in aura. This is a spiritual sense. With the time we can start exchanging thoughts, telepathic messages. It's a spiritual sense. We can even start moving objects with the power of our mind. Telekinesis. It's a spiritual sense. And with the time we can even move through very strong energy fields that used to be produced by pyramids. Teleportation. So these are some of the spiritual senses, and the ancients knew about 30 of them. And it gives another aspect of this project, a spiritual aspect. Okay, let's move on. So back in 2009 and 2010, we were clearing this tunnel here. We came here, we uncovered this wall. It's a beautiful dry wall, built about 5,000 years back. And then we realized that under this half radius ceiling there is a tunnel going to the left and one going to the right. So if we number the tunnels, this would be number 1, number 2, number 3. Here in front of me is number 4. To my right, where you are standing right now, is number 5, and all the way to the right, and number 6. So we have really intersection with the 6 different tunnels. Now, when we came here, which way should we go? Well, we took compass looking for south. Number 4 was south. But in order to clean number 4, we would need to remove or to destroy this beautiful drywall. So we said, no, let's keep the drywall because it's a very nice archaeological example, and let's clear number 5, where there was no drywall. And we were thinking, once we come to the next intersection, we're going to make left, continuing to the south. And that's exactly what happened. We started removing materials, and 20 meters later, we came to the T intersection, and we made left. Let's keep moving. I'm going to be going first. Alright, now we enter the first chamber that was discovered back in 2010 for the New Year's. So we were coming from this direction, and for the first time in 5 years we discovered a big room. It was completely filled with the filler material, all the way to the top of the ceiling. So we've been removing the material manually, just using the shovel and the wheelbarrow. And this is what we do here. Everything is done manually. The reason why we don't bring equipment is the equipment vibrates, and the vibration could cause the walls to collapse. So this is much slower way, but I think this is the only correct way to do it. Once we removed tons and tons of the filler material, we realized that the length of this chamber is 12.5 meters by 4 meters wide, which gives us 50 square meters of the surface, and the height is 4 meters. There are 8 tunnels coming to this chamber. Number 1 we just used, number 2 is over there, it's completely filled to the top. Number 3, there is a drywall here. Whenever we have drywall, there is a tunnel over there. Number 4 is the tunnel which is open right now. Number 5 and 6 are in this right wall. Number 7 is to the left, which is closed. And number 8 is to the right, which is open. So if you have 8 tunnels coming to this chamber, it means it was a very important center. Distribution center, communication center, or the center where the energy would flow. We also notice that people feel good. Now, it's about 40 people in this chamber, and we are looking from this direction, 220 meters from the entrance, and you see how we can breathe normally. People with asthma, we notice that after they visit the tunnels, they go outside, they don't need air pumps anymore. People with the sinus infections, the infection is gone. People with all kinds of pains, they are gone also. People with the high blood pressure, it gets normalized. So, we were looking for the scientific explanations of these healing properties of the tunnels. Number 1, using this instrument on the poster, we were measuring the concentration of negative ions. As the medical science knows, negative ions are good for our body. Number 1, they connect with the dust in the air, and dust goes down to the floor. Number 2, they raise the level of oxygen. Number 3, they kill viruses and bacteria. So more negative ions, better for our body. In our homes and offices, the concentration of negative ions is very low, about 100 per cubic centimeter. When you go to downtowns, about 400. When you go to the villages, out at open, 800. By the rivers, very refreshing, 1,500. In Bosnia, the largest concentration is on Olympic Mountain Igman, around 4,000 on top of the mountain in the forest. And here, in this chamber, during the winter times, about 20,000. During the summer, it's reaching about 40,000 negative ions per cubic centimeters. In some area of the tunnels, it's reaching 50, 60, even 100,000. Meaning somebody was making a health facility, a healing facility under the ground. So this is first very important element, but not enough to explain all the self-healing experiences. Element number 2, the cosmic radiations. We live on the surface of the planet. Of course we like it. During the daytime we have blue sky and sunny weather. During the nights we have stars and the moon, very romantic. But a lot of cosmic radiations coming our way. Some of them are harmful for our body. Here in the tunnels, 35 meters below the ground, no harmful cosmic radiations. So our body cells don't have enemies from above. Element number 3, natural radioactivity. We are not even aware, but as we walk on the surface, under the ground is coming natural radioactivity, hitting our body and adding to the list of the enemies to our body cells. Now, we had several teams coming with the Geiger counters to the tunnels, measuring natural radioactivity. The values are 10 times lower than the minimum allowed. So no radioactivity. The next element, underground water flows. We know that if we today have our bedroom above underground water stream, we're going to get sick in 5 or 10 years. So it is some type of the negative energy for our body. But with the series of the blocks, starting with the egg-shaped K1, K2, K3, K4, K5, the ancients were neutralizing negative energy, transforming it to positive. So we don't have the enemies coming from the water. Then the next thing, there are so-called Hartmann grids. Hartmann grids are lines, energy lines under the ground, going east-west, north-south, intersecting. Those intersections are actually also coming with the negative energy from our bodies. Those blocks, they also neutralize negative energy from Hartmann grids. The next element, the cell phones, the mobile phones that we use, we cannot do without them anymore. But they operate at the frequency of 0.85 gigahertz. If you place two mobile phones and one egg between them, you turn on the mobile phones, the egg will start boiling. And that's exactly what's happening with our brain. If you put one or two phones on our head, our brain cells will start boiling. That's how bad this frequency is. Here, there is no cell phone or mobile phone signal. The next thing, internet, Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi started working at the frequency of 2.4 giga. Then it moved to 3 giga. Today, most of the world operates at 4 giga. And tomorrow, the whole planet will be covered by 5 gigahertz frequency. This is the frequency of the microwaves. So, microwaves, it is proven, cause cancer. So every time we connect to the Wi-Fi, and we cannot live without it no more, every time we connect to it, it is like somebody opened the microwave, placing our heads inside. Here in the tunnels, no Wi-Fi signal. So now we can see that this place is completely safe and protected. The moment we enter the tunnels today, for the first time in our life, our body cells did not have enemies. So they could start doing their job. What is their job? To fix the problems in our body. To start the regeneration process. To start the self-healing process. And that would explain that people with different health issues, they all got their problems resolved. Of course, we as a foundation do not give any medical guarantees. We don't deal with the healing, but we try to give scientific explanation for those testimonies. Okay, let's now move from the healing chamber to our next spot. In 2011, this tunnel was completely filled with the material. Then we started clearing the filled material. And to my left, there is the first tunnel. It is about 180 centimeters. So this is tunnel number 1, which is completely filled with the material. Then there is a tunnel number 2, about 2 meters in height. And then 1 meter after that, tunnel number 3, about 1 meter 60. And then tunnel number 4, smallest one, 140. And then tunnel number 5 to my left, tunnel number 6, number 7, and number 8. So we have 8 tunnels next to each other. Now let's discuss the material in the tunnels. What we see here is called conglomerate. Conglomerate is a natural geological phenomenon. And the way it originates, when you have a big flood waves, the water moves a lot of material in front of it. Pebbles, rocks, sand, wood, everything that's in front of it, it moves it. Above us is about 40 meters of this type material. And then when water recedes, only the heavy stuff remains. Rocks, sand. So 40 meters above us, it's putting a lot of pressure on the lower layers, and they become compact. Such compacted material is called conglomerate. Most probably, the date when this originated was 34,000 years ago. How do we know that? Because in this material, we discovered a piece of wood which we dated in Germany and Poland 34,000 years. And now, the builders of the tunnels, which were the builders of the pyramid, 30,000 years ago, removed a lot of material in order to build this tunnel network. They removed millions of tons of material. What did they do with it? Pebbles, rock, sand. It's a construction material for the concrete, which they used to cover the Bosnian Pyramids. Now, if we try to make such a network of tunnels today, let's see what would happen. The wall behind you, the other side, if we try to dig 8 tunnels next to each other, probably they would all collapse within 10 minutes. Why? Because this material, you see, it's not so compact. 34,000 years in geology is a very short period of time. If it was millions of years, this would be all rocks. But 34,000, it's still rather soft. So whoever built this huge network of tunnels, they were not doing it manually with the primitive tools. They had technology, because those tunnels remain even today. So this is the first technological civilization. The second one, who closed those tunnels, when did they close it exactly? Well, in the filler material, we are discovering organic material as well. We did radiocarbon dating at University of Uppsala in Sweden, and the date we got was 4,610 years. So it's almost 5,000 years. But look how they close it. All the tunnels are closed all the way to the top. So we don't even see the ceiling. If we try to do it today manually, with the shovel, what would happen in a few minutes? We could see a little gap between the ceiling and the filler material. The only way to fill it all the way to the top would be using pipes under pressure. In other words, this second civilization was also a technological civilization. And we know nothing about the first one or the second one. They are not in the history books. Because of that, the cultural establishment, archaeologists, geologists, historians, museum curators, anthropologists, they are all against us because they want to keep the status quo. Otherwise, all the history books would have to be changed. This is the problem we have from the beginning. People from the different expertise attacking us, saying there is nothing there, wanting to stop us. They are afraid of the truth because their Ph.D.s, professorships, books that they have written are not good anymore. But the science is not about keeping the status quo. The science is about the new information, new knowledge. If we need to change history books, then we are going to change them. Now, from here, there is a direction that we've been working on in the last few months. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take you over there, but I'm going to be walking a little bit quicker So please stick with the group. Don't stay behind. And watch your head as you walk. Now we are standing in the walking section. As you can see, there is no wooden support here. This is a section that we just recently discovered several weeks ago. And just last week, when removing the material, we discovered a section with the water. It is an open section. Back in 2011, we discovered the first open section. So far, we have discovered 6 of them, and they are anywhere from 17 to 200 meters. And then they are always blocked at the end. They are rather helpful because they could shorten our way to the pyramid. However, all of the open sections so far were filled with the water, including this one, and we haven't made a first prospection yet. We're going to do it today after we finish this tour here. So, since we analyzed the water, and I'll be talking about it later, we realize that the water is precious because it vibrates very high, it's a healing water, so we don't even touch those tunnels. We don't move through them, we do not pump the water out. But this walk of almost 200 meters can give you an idea about the tunnels that radiate almost in all directions. It's a huge labyrinth, and what you are seeing today, it's a small percentage of that labyrinth, probably less than 5%. Alright, any questions at this point? If not, then we're going to be going back. Now you will see one section with the tunnels where you have those signs. They are saying Minul Mehta Tunnel, Romira Foundation. Since our project is run by a non-profit foundation, the way we are getting the money and the income is through donations, sponsorship. So last winter of 2016, we are getting donations from the UK. Minul Mehta is 83-year-old Indian woman who donated the money to work in the tunnels during last winter. So section of about 50 meters is named after her. So I'll be going first, so please wait till I get to the front and then follow me. And stick with the group, 10 meters from this intersection you're going to see the first underground lake, a little pond that we discovered back in 2011. The pond is about 10 square meters in surface. It's a half a meter deep. And the water is crystal clear and clean. As a matter of fact, this is one of the sources that we use to bottle the water from here. So we're going to be slowly. You will need to bend a little bit your knees in order to see the water. You will see the flat surface and a beautiful water there. Please follow me. Alright. This is our chamber number 3, discovered back in November 2011. We were coming from that direction, we removed all the filler material, then we realized that we actually have 9 tunnels leading to this chamber. I'm going to show them real quickly to you. So tunnel number 1 is the one that we use, it's over there. Tunnel number 2, under the rock. Tunnel number 3, under the rock. Tunnel number 4, partially open here. Tunnel number 5, to my right. Tunnel number 6, it's open right now. Tunnel number 7, under this rock, more than 2 meters in height. Tunnel number 8 is behind this drywall, this direction, and tunnel number 9 is open right now. So 9 tunnels, also very important intersection. Of course, when we came here, we were looking for south. and this is direction of south. We started removing the filler material. After 4 or 5 hours, we could see a little hole in the material. More material we removed, hole was getting bigger and bigger. So we finally could get through the hole, and we discovered the first 2 open sections in the underground labyrinth. One going to the right, it's exactly south, for 200 meters, but completely filled with the water. And one going to the west, 154 meters. Now, when we are thinking about the one going to the south, 200 meters, that would be a big savings for us. So if we pump the water out, we could save 200 meters and get quicker to the pyramid. But first, what we did, we checked the quality of the water. First, we did conventional analysis, chemical and microbiological, at Institute for Health in Zenica. They told us there was no viruses and no bacteria in this water. Well, it meant that the negative ions in the air acting as the barrier for microbes. The second thing, pH was at excellent level. pH is very important for us. We know pH scale from 0 to 14. 7 is neutral. What they recommend to drink is 7 to 8. Our water that we drink at home, tap water, bottled water, is at 7. However, our blood is a little bit higher, 7.25 to 7.45. And this water is about 7.5. Excellent level. It gives little excitement and the movement. It is, if you want to calibrate the water, 7.5 is what you would like to see. However, most of the drinks that we drink today, very bad. Coke, Schweppes, tonic, they are at 3. Now imagine, 7 to 8 is normal, healthy level, and we drink 3. So this water is excellent from the conventional standpoint of view. And then we sent samples to Bion Institute in Slovenia. In former Yugoslavia, this is the only institute that was doing bioenergetical measurements of the water. So for 1 full week, one group of Slovenians were drinking our water, and in another group, the control group, they were drinking the tap water. And they were not told which group is drinking what water. And they were measured using Russian technology. It's called GDV technology. And through this technology you can see the effects of consuming the water. Since our tap water is full of chlorine, fluorides, traces of heavy metals, is going through metal pipes for kilometers. Once it comes to the pipe in our kitchens, it is energetically dead water. You drink it, it simply goes through your body. But water from the tunnels, it feeds your cells. It's a healing water. And that's the reason why we got this certificate. And finally, we sent samples to Japan, to the late Dr. Masaru Emoto. Before he died 3 years ago, he got our samples 4 years ago. And even though those samples were going through the X-rays, damaged the structure a little bit, the results were fascinating. Dr. Masaru Emoto became very popular starting 1999 and the following 10 years, because what was he doing? He would be frozen the water at -4 degrees, and then he was filming the crystal structure of the water. He noticed that different samples produce different results. If, for example, you film the water which is from the contaminating lakes or rivers, the structure looks real bad. The tap water is also the water which does not have any forms, any beautiful structure. They are deformed. For example, on this photo here, black and white photo, these are the samples that we sent from city of Visoko. Actually, this was from the museum in Visoko. It's a regular tap water, and you can see how it is deformed. The reason why? It has a low level of energy. But even if it is a tap water, if you give it, let's say, to the Buddhist monk, and then he produces mantra of love for 1 full hour, the monk is saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. And he sincerely means that. The water will change its structure. It's going to become a beautiful water, something like this, hexagonal in the shape. Why hexagonal? Because hexagonal is the perfect geometrical shape. So, finally, with our samples, our water in the tunnels has been exposed only to the good pyramid energies. We heard the frequencies, 28 kilohertz electromagnetism, very good frequency. 28 kilohertz ultrasound, the levitation, spiritual frequency. 7.83 hertz, the original Schumann resonance, our natural energy field. High concentration of negative ions. So only two good things for thousands of years. How do we know that it's thousands of years? Because this is not a surface water. We are 40 meters below the ground. 3 years ago, when we had the big flood in Bosnia, you would expect that the level of this water goes up. Did not happen. Last year, even this year, with so many dry days, you would expect that the water level goes down. It's not happening. Meaning that the surface water does not affect the water here. This is independent, separate. So, they got the water, they got the samples, and this is the picture of our water. So, as I said, even though it went through the X-rays and different airports, it still keeps hexagonal shape and crystal-like structures, like we have the Christmas trees. Why? Because it is energetically alive. It is a happy water. Let's move on. So, we realize how important is this water. We've done more checking. Some of them are non-conventional also. There is a scale used by dowsers, which is called the Bovis scale. The Bovis scale. And the Bovis scale shows the energy level. Even though it is not fully scientifically recognized method, it gives us a good hints. For example, happy human is at 6,500 Bovis. If we are tired, 6,000 Bovis. If we are sick, 5,500. But on the other hand, if we are full of the energy, we feel good, 7,000, 8,000. If we consume just a good food, raw vegetables, 8, 9, 10,000. Freshly squeezed orange juice and juices from other vegetables and fruits, non-GMO, 10, 11, 12,000. If we are mentally and spiritually pure, we don't mean no harm to anyone, just love, 13, 14,000. If we can heal with the touch, 14, 15, 16,000. So this is the Bovis scale. The food also can be expressed on this scale. For example, water, the one that we drink at our homes, or we use in those plastic bottles from the stores, it is at 3,000 Bovis. So now imagine, we are at 8 or 18,000 Bovis, we are drinking 3,000. It's pulling us down. The water from the pyramid tunnels here in Bosnia is between 27,000 and 29,000 Bovis. It vibrates very high, and that's the reason why we call it a healing water. Even some spaces can be expressed in the Bovis. For example, Buddhist temples with a lot of meditation and positive thoughts, 14,000 Bovis. And the tunnels here, 25,000 Bovis. And that's the reason why we call this prehistorical construction a sacred space that needs to be respected. 4 years ago, when we done all those analyses, we heard suggestions, why don't you bottle that water and sell it? And yes, we decided to sell it, and one of the reasons is that some people will recognize the value. We sell it as the Bosnian Pyramids souvenir. We don't sell it as a healing water, but those who understand the value of the high vibration will understand the value of this water. And sure enough, if you mix a cap of this water with the 1 liter of our regular water, that little cap will bring the message. It will reprogram our tap water, and it's going to start vibrating higher. Everything in our life is about the vibration. If we have some bad thoughts, if we are violent, we will be vibrating very low. If we are pure, it goes up. This is another intersection. Behind me, there is a tunnel which is almost 4 meters in height. Some of them that we saw today, 2 meters, 1.5, even 1 meter 20. Why do we have different heights of the tunnels? As you could see so far, and we've been walking for about 500-600 meters, we breathe excellent and only one entrance. When the coal mining engineers come to the tunnel network, they cannot understand how come the ancients had such a good airflow in the tunnels. Well, when we start clearing the tunnels, for example this one here, the height of the ceiling goes from 4 meters down to 3.5 and 3 and 2 and 1, and then it starts rising again. 2, 3, 4. So it looks like a sinusoid. Why would somebody build tunnels in the shape of the sinusoid? It doesn't make much sense. Maybe not for us, but for them, yes. If we build tunnels today, we build it 5 meters high, we put the fans in the front and in the back, and then we are getting the airflow. The ancients did not have fans or electricity, nor they needed it. Because when you have a low ceiling, there is a high air pressure coming from behind trying to push this air through. When you have high ceiling, it's very weak pressure. So with the changes of the ceilings, high and low, the pressure changes weak and strong, weak and strong. The change of the air pressure makes the air move. So when you have one long sinusoidal tunnel, it is like you have one big fan pushing the air slowly through the tunnel. But when you have hundreds of tunnels like we have here, it's like we have hundreds of fans pushing the air slowly. And the interesting thing is, every corner in the tunnel has the same temperature, meaning there is airflow in every corner, the same humidity. So it is the genius work of the ancient builders. Now we're going to be going slowly out, so we are making a circle here, we're not coming the same way, and just before we get out, we'll have one more stop. So please follow me.
How will we do it?
It took us about 1 hour and 20 minutes. Sometimes it looks like it's much shorter period, about 20 minutes, but the time outside goes much quicker than inside. What you've seen today is about 600 meters. So far we have cleared about 1,850 meters. So you saw less than 1/3 of the tunnel network. And you can see it's really huge labyrinth. And it's still less than 5% of the original size of this complex. However, 2 years ago, we discovered the entrance to the second level tunnels. And it seems that there are probably between 3 and 7 level tunnels below us. So we are still on the surface when it comes to the size of the underground construction. And what we have above the ground is the biggest pyramid complex on the planet. When it comes to the costs, our non-profit, non-government foundation named Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun for the last 12 years is running this very active archaeological site. In the tunnels, just the lights, 2 years ago we replaced them and we changed them to the LED lights, which is eco-friendly version. It cost us 13,000 euros. Every year we are changing the wooden support. Every 3-4 years it has to be completely changed. It cost us at least 100,000 euros, labor and material. So you can see that the maintenance only is very costly. It costs much more than the new research. The project that we have here really is too big. Not for one little foundation, even for one little country like Bosnia. It should be internationally run project because of its global importance and global impact. Eventually it will become international project. The first little house when you get out is the house where we keep our books, souvenirs, water. You are welcome to support the project by buying those. Thank you for your attention and come again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nisam bio tamo sada na sviđu. Se provlačili, ne?
Ajmo prva smjena, imate sada.
Ja moram sam pobažiti premijer.
To spread the light not only here but through the whole earth.